Welcome to another episode of Dirt Duo. We had some complications on the last video, to say the least. It was me more or less doing the editing. Once I uploaded it, I was proud of it. I watched it on the big screen and I realized, wow, that doesn't even fit the screen. I wasn't holding my phone right, none of that. So Ryder's gonna be doing most of the editing this time, so everything should be a lot better. So appreciate you hanging in there. Today we're gonna be working on a KTM 85. It's a 2022 SX 85. It's a good friend of ours, Grayson. He moved up to a KX 250F. I can ride it, it's a big wheel. So shoot, I can ride it, Grayson can still ride it, my son can still ride it. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of clean it up and still kind of rip it around. Right now what's going on is the O-rings that are on the header that go over the top of the head, they're bad. It's allowing the oil that's in the gas to kind of bypass right there at that O-ring, and it's making a mess. It's getting all that oil residue up underneath that motor. It's burning it all on the header, all over the frame. So pretty simple. All we gotta do is pull those springs off. I'll replace those O-rings, clean everything while it's off, go ahead and put it back on there. While it's off, it is a two-stroke. It isn't getting ridden as much because he does have his 250F. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean the carburetor. You know, it's a two-stroke, so as gas evaporates, some of that oil residue will be left behind, and over time it'll build up and then clog your jets. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the carburetor off, pull the bottom of the bowl off, and just clean the jet, spray through it with some carb cleaner. Just make sure that everything's gonna be flowing good. I'm gonna go ahead and check the reads. We're there, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and check them. This one specifically has the V-Force 3 reads. So some upgraded reads. I'm gonna pull those off and just make sure that everything looks good in there, and then just clean it. I've got a pressure washer, so before that I'll go and I'll just get my Simple Green. I'll spray just Simple Green, no water, no, it's not diluted, just spray straight Simple Green with my brush, and I'll do it here in the shed. So I'll clean all the aluminum, especially the engine casing, swing arm, triple clamps, right, especially those, and really get those, scrub those good. And then once I get everything kind of scrubbed down, I'll pull it outside and pressure washer it. I'll pressure washer it, kind of pressure wash the subframe and the gas tank separately. Since they're off, it'll allow me to go ahead and get on top of that frame right there where the gas tank usually lays. So might as well get this thing back to tip-top shape. So yeah, appreciate y'all coming along. All right, let's dive into this. This is the first time for me using a stand like this. This is trick. Grayson's dad's Charles, who's a good friend of mine, he let me borrow this stand while I'm working on their 85 here. And I gotta admit, I'm gonna get me one of these. I mean, look at that. Of course, I'm a short guy, but this brings it up to a level to where I don't even really have to bend down. Apologize for the noise over here in the background. We've got the e-bikes charging. We plan to go rip on these things at a skate park tomorrow since it's super wet outside. We had a bunch of rain, so we're gonna have some background of the bikes charging in the background. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, let's start with this. I'm gonna go ahead and get this carburetor off. While we're working on this thing, we've realized, since it fits me so well, like I've said, I'm 5'8", I wouldn't mind finding one of these that are blown up or just in a bad shape, pulling this motor and doing an e-swap. We think that'd be pretty cool to do that. We've kind of been already looking around to see if we can find one. All right, see if I can get this carburetor out of here. If I can swing this up a little. Yeah. All right, looks like we may have to pivot at least to make it easier. Move this aside. Looks like we may have to pivot this swing arm a little bit just to make it easier. I wouldn't say it's a necessity, but let's go ahead and do that just to pivot this, just to make that a little bit easier to get on and off. Meaning this fuel tank might have to go ahead and come off as well too. Let's go ahead and pull this off. Let's turn the gas off. Put that off. Let's see, how is this bolted on here? Looks like we've maybe just got that one bolt right there. This is actually my first KTM to work on as well. Now I work at a European shop in Plano. We sell European bikes. So I've noticed a lot of the European bikes uses Torx. Bingo. Looks like a lot of the European bikes, including my Stark here, uses a lot of Torx, a lot of Allens. So I kind of had to up my game on a few tools once I got that Stark. So luckily I've got quite a few Torx and stuff. So working on this KTM shouldn't be an issue. Ooh, that boy tight. Woo! Make sure that's the right size, just to make sure. Yep. All right, let's put some Ugga-Duggas on this thing. Hopefully it stays good. All right, there we go. Okay, that's that. All right, wow, just that one bolt in the middle. I've never seen that before. Let's set the bolts over here so we don't lose them. And this thing should pull right off. There we go. All right, now we got the gas tank off. Bang. There's that. I like to put my tools back almost every time to make sure I don't lose anything. Let's go ahead and take this exhaust off. Looks like that's going to be another Torx, but what's cool about that is you can see it's a Torx, but it's also a hex set as well. To me, that is a tremendous idea. Just in case something gets stripped out as far as the Torx, or heck, even the hex, you do have the ability to use one or the other to get that bolt out. So I love that when bolts have a double like that, meaning the hex and also the Torx. I love out here piddling in this place, man. This is a Sunday for me, so this makes for an enjoyable Sunday, especially since maybe be able to see out that window, especially since it's muddy. We had quite a bit of rain here in Texas yesterday, and yeah, it makes for a good day piddling here. Boom. All right. May have to repack this thing as well too as a part of this. Let's just put this over here. So now we've got that off. Now we should be able to go ahead and loosen up this subframe just a tad. That way we can pivot it. Looks like we've already got the bottom bolts out here. That way we can pivot it and make it a lot easier to get that carburetor off. And I might go ahead and just pull this subframe. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this, now that I think about it, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this subframe in general, because we are going to deep clean this, get a lot of simple green on here, scrub it a lot and get all this off. You'll see in the video, but we're actually gonna be able to bring a lot of this aluminum back. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just take this all the way off. Let's see here, looks like that is 2 Torx. Yeah, 2 Torx. So hopefully we got both of those. Look at that. I'm good at guessing these usually. All right, so that's that. Let's see here. This is a 45 and a 45. So I've got 1.5 inch drive. Actually, no, these are both 3/8 drives. Perfect and perfect. All right, grab some ratchets. Not necessarily the best ratchet for this, but it'll work. Kind of tighten that thing, loosen it. There we go. See how hard this is to get off. I don't know how long it's been since it's been off. Not that bad. There we go. All right, there's that. That might be threaded as well. Let's try. Yeah, looks like this side's actually threaded. I've got power tools over there. I went out to Harbor Freight and bought me some cordless drills, as you can see over there, cordless ratchet and my impact, but damn it, I'm just so used to using, oh wait, that's just two different bolts. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? You would think most models I've worked on, it's just a solid bolt with a nut on it. That's actually just two Torx bolts. So this should, there we go, come right off. All right, after looking at the Pro Circuit website, I think just what we're running is fine. Plus, it was running it just fine, really. So we'll leave the jetting alone. What I'll do is just pull these jets individually out and just spray through them just to make sure there's no gunk or anything. So, get that one out of there. Let's see. Actually looks like this one, it's a little dirty. It's a good thing we're pulling this off. Let me see if I've got a little flathead. We'll take this jet out here. Let's see, maybe that boy right there. Yeah. Bada bing. All right. Let's spray this thing off. Got some carburetor cleaner. I keep this stuff on deck, y'all. I use this stuff for everything. Everything. Now, I'm gonna take this outside because this stuff's gonna stink. There we go. So let's take this right outside, spray it off. I'm gonna spray through every orifice, everything. Let's just do this right out here. A lot of times if the carbs are super bad, you can actually buy, it's like a Chem Tool dip. It's basically a little painter's looking bucket, a little 5-gallon bucket, and you just set it in there. There's a basket, you lower it down in there and let it soak. That's usually on carburetors that's been sitting. This one hasn't been sitting really, so watch your eyes here. Blow every orifice that we can. Oh, shoot, that got me in the pants. There we go. Like I said, this thing was running good, so you don't have to do a whole lot of deep cleaning. Actually should be good. Okay, now let's blow through these jets. Watch your eyes. Whew, said that. Dang, got right in my eye. I really need goggles on, but I've got this thing strapped to my head, so can't really do that. That one actually acted a little clogged, a little dirty. Good thing we cleaned this. Go ahead and get both ends here. Okay. Spray this bowl off. Try not to do it too much in the shed because it's gonna stink in here. Clean this off. Get my rag here. Clean all this off really good. I actually want to get this cleaner. I wonder if one of these brushes can do a very good job at this. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Because I want this carburetor clean. I want it to look good. Let's pull this little O-ring out because we're going to have to replace it anyways. Find me a pick. Go. See if I can get this out. Yep, there we go. Come on, baby. Looks like this one's been in here a while. I doubt this carburetor's ever been taken apart. Could be wrong. But I don't think this thing's ever been taken apart. I probably could reuse that, be honest with you. But why? If the kit came with one. We'll set that aside so we don't lose track. Let me grab my pan and set this stuff a little bit more aside. Let me grab my pan and really start cleaning this thing actually, because that's gonna bother me. That's gonna bother me. Grab my simple green. This stuff works wonders. Let's spray this a little bit. So literally just what I do is I just spray this stuff on with no water. No water at all. I just take and I scrub this. This goes for any aluminum really. Any aluminum, or I guess really anything in general, but I've noticed specifically with aluminum, and these little brushes I actually just picked up on Amazon, it really brings out the aluminum very, very well, with minimal effort, really. I mean, as you all can probably even see, with no effort at all, a lot of this stuff has come off. I'm going to scrub this pretty good here. That way this thing looks really, really good. That's about all the simple green you need. You really don't need a ton of this stuff. Alright, let's do the carburetor itself. Spray that a few times. And get to scrubbing. You can already see it going to town there. Works a little bit better if you let it sit, right? But this stuff wasn't that dirty. I've worked on some carburetors before that were really stained. And this stuff does work really well to bring that stuff back to life. Yeah, look at that. This little cooking pan works really well for stuff like this. I have intentions on putting a little sink out here. That would make it really nice having a little sink, but for the time being, this little cooking pan works really well. It's actually how I cleaned up pretty much everything on my son's dirt bike over there. The plastics, the aluminum pieces that I took off at least, just use this pan that I had inside that I was using for cooking. And yeah, use that as your catch pan. And yeah, keeps your area clean. Look at that. Look at that. That's what's great about these brushes like this. If I really need to get to cleaning, I've also got some other ones like these. More of a wire brush, as you could see, but this one's not. That's just a regular bristle. But this was, dude, Amazon gets a lot of my business. These were like friggin' 14 bucks, and as you can see, I got an assortment of them. I don't even know if they were 14. I think they were 12. So cheap enough, right? And yeah, they work really, really good. Make this carburetor really, really, really come back to life. All right, man, look at that. All right, I'm gonna take these inside, y'all, since I don't have a sink in here, and go rinse these off. All right, we are back, and as you can see, that works pretty good. I could have got this cleaner, right? But this will work. So I used my simple green. I've got that brush. I've got everything cleaned up. I did take it inside and rinse it off with the sink, just some hot water. I did instantly blow it off, and then yeah, sprayed it back off again with some carburetor cleaner, try to get all that water out. And I'm gonna let this just sit. Let it sit, let it dry, let it do its thing. And while it's doing that, I'm gonna get the exhaust off. Because as I mentioned, this is the main reason of why we started working on it. It is leaking pretty damn bad right around here, just blowing out some oil from the gas. So what we need to do is take off all these bolts from the header, this head pipe, that way we can go ahead and get it removed. So it looks like we've got a bolt here. Ooh, way too big. There we are. Oops. I guess that one would work too, huh? And it was actually already even missing that one. So luckily I've got some bolts to put back in it. So the only thing that's holding this now, put this back, the only thing that's holding this now is the springs. So let me grab, I don't have a spring puller. I need to get one. I hope this will do the trick. Oh yeah. Yep, that'll do it. There we go. Now let's get that off. So these O-rings in here must be bad, because that is where it is leaking. It's right around here. And it's spraying out pretty bad. Kind of see where it's spraying out there. So, yeah, Jesus. Let's get these replaced. All right, we've got the header off, and I've just done some digging. I was looking around on my phone and debating on just getting a different exhaust. This obviously can be capped off and pressurized, and then you heat these areas, it'll blow out the dent, blah, 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 blah. I just don't know if it matters. I mean, at the end of the day, this bike will work fine, still produce the power we need. Later on, if we wanted to, they do make a carbon cover that looks pretty badass you could put over here. I think we're gonna go that route. So instead of getting these dents out, I'm just gonna get my simple green back out with my cooking pan and just get this cleaned up. Just get this cleaned up, looking a lot better. Again, we'll leave these dents. It really isn't going to affect anything. And then, yeah, later on, they make a pretty slick carbon cover that goes over top of this that would cover up every dent. So we'll probably go that route because that's quite a bit cheaper. Looks like even used headers, you're looking $300 or so. So we're trying to do it on a tight budget. So yeah, let's just clean this thing up. Screw it. Probably get my bigger brush on this one and get to cleaning. What I may do on this one after we clean it really good with some simple green, actually I might try to bring this chrome back out because that won't cost much. As I mentioned, we're trying to stay on a pretty tight budget. Just, I don't know, we're spending money on other crap. So we're trying to be tight with this one. So I might at least just clean this chrome up, make it pop. That way, if we end up going the route with the carbon cover, the exhaust will be nice and shiny and it'll look good underneath that carbon cover. It's already looking way better. I've also got, just thought of this, I've also got some steel wool. That's what I'll probably do. I'll go ahead and clean this boy up, get most of the dirt off of it. It'll probably take a few times cleaning this, as dirty as it is. A few times back and forth from the sink to here, getting all this cleaned up. And then once I get most of the bull crap off, I'll actually just go back with some steel wool and some WD-40, and it'll really bring this chrome back. That works really well for aluminum too, is steel wool and WD-40, or any type of lubricant really. Really want to get up in these crevices really good. So this really takes some patience. You don't need that much lubricant, but in fact I think I've got a little too much right here. But with enough scrubbing, enough persistence, if I can get that off of this. Some of this stuff may just be on there, but with enough persistence, you can really get this thing looking pretty good. And it ain't gotta be perfect, y'all. That's not the goal, but we really want it to be as nice as possible and spend the least amount as possible. So yeah, this is definitely working. Oh yeah. All right, it's not perfect by any means, but that's with steel wool and WD-40. There's probably a few places I missed, but I got all that soot off that was leaking from around the head. Got all that off the exhaust. Still got a bunch of WD-40 on here, so let's pull my pan back out and let's do one more round of simple green. And honestly, that'll probably do it. Like I said, it ain't perfect, but it's gonna be a lot better than what it was. That's for sure. This thing was rusted, had all that soot on there, so this is gonna look really good now in comparison to what it was. You can see that finish kind of coming out. Obviously it was chrome before. I may have changed my mind on polishing it just because it's a dirt bike. It's gonna get stained again. So thinking just cleaning it up like so should do the trick.
So this is after, I'd say, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. I didn't really time it, but that's as good as it's gonna get for me. That'll work. So it cleaned up okay. Figured it would. That's with some Simple Green, my steel wool, some WD-40, and then another round of some Simple Green. Sure, I could take it further and blow this up, heat this, pressurize this exhaust, put some heat here, blow these out, go back and really polish this up, but it's a dirt bike, so it's just gonna get dirty again. I think once we get it on the bike and we put the carbon fiber shield on it, covering up all these dents, and in fact covering up most of this, I think it'll stop about right here, go all the way down and cover all this. It'll look just fine. Yeah, that'll work. All right, just had some lunch. Cooked me a good old turkey burger. Little recap, got the carburetor clean enough for me. Got the exhaust, the head pipe here. I got it looking okay. This'll do it. That will work. So I think from here, and I'm just kind of fiddling, I'm taking my time with this. I think from here, I'm gonna check these reeds out. Let's make sure that the reeds are okay. So that being the case, let me go ahead and just take this boot off. Perfect. It's starting to be a nice day outside. I may have to go get the dirt bikes out and go ride out in the pasture. Super muddy, like I said from the night before. We had quite a bit of rain, but I've got some areas out in the pasture that should be okay to ride on. Let's see. Yeah, as I was mentioning, this lift makes it super handy. I've just drug it directly up underneath this light that's above me. My eyes are terrible. I cannot see very well anymore. So being able to A, lift this thing up to my height, and B, drag it over towards a light, game changer. Game changer. I should have invented this lift. I'd be rich by now. This would this is really handy here out in the shed. Long-winded bolt here. Come on, baby. There it is. Let's see how these reeds look. Oh yeah, they're okay. Nice. Yeah. I was afraid they might be damaged, but those actually look a-okay. So I am literally just going to put this bad boy right back on. It's been rare for me to have some damaged reeds. I've only had a few two-strokes though. I've had a 2003 YZ125 that was, shoot, probably back in 07, 08. I've had an 01 RM250. I've had an 03 RM250. Had a 99 KX125. The bike I should have kept would be that YZ125. I'm really kind of in the market for a 125. As I mentioned, I've been ripping one, and shit, I did not. I'm over here talking, enjoying this, and I didn't even put the freaking intake boot back on there. So let me take these bolts back off. Let me put that intake boot back on there right quick. But yeah, I haven't seen too many damage reads, just for the fact of I haven't had too many two-strokes. I got good on a 4-stroke. This was back in 06. I got an RMZ 250 and really started riding well. Really kind of took off, started understanding how to ride. Let's see, that boot should go like that. So yeah, I've really started to understand the dynamics of motocross on a 4-stroke. So I can't necessarily say I'm like a specific 2-stroke guy. I definitely love 4-strokes. And ever since I've gotten that electric bike, it's really turned me over to a completely different style of riding, my Stark. But man, I'm really starting to enjoy them as far as 2-strokes. Especially that I'm tinkering on them more and more and more. These 2-strokes are just easy. They're easy to work on. So I'm super pumped with that. That saves some money that we didn't have to buy any reeds or anything. And as you can see, these are the upgraded V-Force 3 reeds. So, and they looked good to me. I'm starting to wonder, if you look at this cylinder head right here, how it's a different color than the casing. It's common to do a 105 big bore and put the big wheel kit on this, which is what this bike has. So I don't know, it may be a 105. My buddy Charles and his son, they got it used. I don't think they knew too much as far as that being a 105 or an 85, but I've seen Grayson ride it in a bunch, and it rips. It rides good, so this might actually be I've been wondering if this is a 105. My son had a rider. He had a 112 before his 250F over there, and that thing was a ripper. If I had room and everything, I'd probably just keep it when he jumped up to the big bike, because that thing was a ripper. You know, and again, it fit me so daggum well that it was a blast to ride. An absolute blast. I've also got in fact, that 06 RMZ 250 that I was talking about. I have it still. Now it is in pieces. I had intentions, I blew the transmission up probably 10 years ago or more. I had intentions on rebuilding the motor. So I completely stripped that 06 RMZ 250 down to the frame. I was doing paint and body and powder coat at the time, so I powder coated the frame myself and bought a 450 and never touched it again. So I'm hoping y'all will see a 06 RMZ 250 build. I kind of need a longer extension here. That's electric. We can do really cool things with that frame that I've got out in the barn. So Ryan and I may drag that out at some point and start doing an electric swap. I think I need a shorter extension. If I have one. And I don't. So what if I grab this boy, put a reducer, and then put my Torx bit. Let's see if that helps me out anymore. It does for these at least. Got that one. Got that one. Might not need an extension at all, really. Let me try that. Bring that over here just in case. Let me try this. There we go. That should be good. I have a tendency of over-tightening everything. So this 1/4 inch ratchet really helps with that too, as far as tightening stuff too tight. Kind of prevents you from doing that. That's not bad. I can get to it right there. Give it this up. I like that. That works with me. See if I can get to this one. Oh yeah, get the slide out of the way. Okay, let's check everything one more time. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I know the reeds are good. That's nice. Awesome. So far we've got the carburetor clean. So with some scrubbing and some persistence, this thing's coming clean pretty good. I told myself I was just gonna get this area, but I can't just do that. I can't just do that. So I'm actually decided I'm gonna go ahead and actually just clean this whole bike. I'm gonna spray simple green over all this bike, over all the components right here, scrub all this down really, really good. I'm gonna close this off and I'm gonna close that off and I'm gonna go ahead and go pressure wash it. Screw it, it's a nice day. I might as well. If that's the case, let me go ahead and just spray this motor. All right, I've got it pretty much scrubbed down. Now, I'm gonna put on the carburetor, put the head pipe back on, and wash this thing. See how well it comes back to life. All right, got the carburetor back on there. Got that tight. Should be able to just clog this up. Zip tie it, pressure wash it that way. Now I need to get the exhaust on there, the header. Thought the camera was rolling, it was not. These O-rings were inside of here. So these seal off here. So believe it or not, those are some high temp O-rings. That header slides over here and those O-rings seal it. Remember, that was one of my issues, is it was blowing out a ton right here. So those O-rings were shot. Let's see how easy it is to get these in here. Where are they? There they are. So I'm confused personally why there's 4. Maybe it's just some extras, because it only requires 2. So maybe it's just some extras or something, which sounds strange. But maybe these are just extras to where, because they do, it's kind of common that these wear out. You know, it's just an O-ring, it's just rubber. It goes from hot to cold, hot to cold, hot to cold. As you know, rubber would change. So, are these different sizes? These are different sizes. So which ones fit this? So maybe, okay. So it looks like this is for different models. Looks like it's for a 65, 85, 105. Okay, so I'm betting the smaller O-rings are for the 65. That makes sense. So these O-rings here match up with the O-ring I took out. So let's see if we can get these in there. Clean this out right quick. Make sure there's no dirt, anything in there. All right, how hard is it to get these in there? I don't know, I haven't done it in a long time. Let's see. So there's a little groove that it sits in. Oh, look at that. That's pretty easy. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now what I'm gonna do on any O-ring is, ooh, look at that. Any O-ring, I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on that so they're not going in there dry. Don't want it to go in there dry. All right, let's get a little bit of oil. It doesn't even matter what oil, just cheap shit. Here we go. American XT, that'll work. So, put a little bit in the cap. And let me lather up these O-rings. That's probably good. I'm overdoing it, I know, but that's okay. Okay. Now, let's get that on. All right. Got the head pipe back on. That's secure. Hopefully that fixes our leak problem that we had here. It should. It's just O-rings and those were wore out, so that should fix it. We go ahead and bolt this back on. And I will plug this hole, plug the carburetor, and we're gonna go wash it. So I mentioned the scooter at the first of the video here. I'm letting the paint dry, or maybe say cure. It's dry to touch, but this thing's got like 5 layers, so look at that sparkle. Dude, I dig it. I actually like it. My boy's done all this. I like it. This will look wicked. 48 volt motor. We're gonna keep it stripped, have a skateboard at the bottom. We really should have cut these off before we painted it, but we'll find something to kind of put there. Heck yeah, look at that. Awesome. All right, got the exhaust on there. Head pipe, that is. Got the springs on. It was missing this bolt down here. Luckily I have an assortment of bolts. Got the carburetor on. Now I'm gonna plug the carburetor hole, the intake hole. I'm gonna plug the exhaust port here, put some zip ties around it, and close that off and go wash it. Let's see how this thing turns out. All right, that's the first wash. Looks a lot better. Once I get everything back on it, I'm gonna do another full-blown detail. I'm gonna scrub down the swing arm more. I was more or less just getting up in the nooks and crannies of where I really couldn't get when the gas tank, the swing arm, or I'm sorry, the subframe, all that stuff's back on. So this will work for now. Exhaust looks decent, especially with that shield, as I've said. That'll look okay. The engine casing cleaned up really well. That simple green works really good for that. So yeah, happy with the first wash. The subframe came out a lot better. Same thing, I'm gonna detail that just a little bit more. And the fuel tank was filthy. This thing was filthy. This thing looks a lot better too. All right.
Well, that wraps it up for this video. I actually didn't intend to get as far along as I did, but so far the box looking pretty good. It's looking pretty clean. I do plan to do one more good detail once the plastics are back on there. Pretty much everything that was covered, like when the gas tank's on there, the seat's on there, all up underneath the frame on top. Got all that detailed. So really that was my goal, is to get all the nooks and crannies cleaned that I could for now. And then once the bike's completely back together, I plan to do another deep clean on it so it looks really good. Thanks for tuning in. Can't wait for another one.